So when I draw like, you know, really light. And like I said, anatomies are it's like really light. So when usually when I sketches, just want to get like a basic structure of characters going. And these are like watercolor brushes that I customize and use it for the Indian ink. So Indian ink is really good because the water, they dry faster than the regular ink. So this is like a little technique that I'm going to show you guys with the coloring. So you see I start with like the lighter color. So let's say Batman's a lot of black and white, so it's a little bit easier. I'm running out a little bit of colors, so I'll just use this one. You asking me about blending?
Blending.
So first of all, I block out light source. So I'm going to have my light source in here, coming here, like from but you still want to keep the form of the colors going. So you block out shadow first. And you want it more harmonized with the other half of the drawings. So lucky they're in the same, almost same mood of the colors. You know, blending time. Prepare brush tip for it. Start going for a color that's like pretty close to it. The T. Oh, T is the toner. It's a little bit like mid-tones, by the way. I have to explain to you guys between N is neutral, T is toners, W are warm shadow, and C are cool shadow, cool grays. Work like, let's say, I do a lot of hard shadow blocking and stuff like that. And let me show you. Usually I don't use this as much in the blenders, but you can use this blender and kind of push out the colors. I'm like running low, you can see it. But you see, like right here, you can push the colors out. If I have like more blender, I think it'll show more. It's more liquid, but you can push it out and stuff. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And then you usually the earth color. So like I said, it's good to know anatomy too on structure face. Just work this out first. You guys can see it. See like how these two colors are like pretty much closer, 11 and 13. It's not like much of a big jump, and when you color it, start blending automatically. You don't really need the blender for it. But I work really fast too, because the slower you work, it dries really fast. And so when it dries, usually, sometimes I go back and forth because I want to leave the other paint that I did dried out, so I can block in some more. You know, depending on how you work on your style. See, and then the cool thing about sometimes when you have one color, you can start adding, get darker and darker with the same color. You see that? Start getting darker, darker and darker until you can't get anything darker than that.
How long have you been doing this?
7 years professionally. Like I said, you just keep blowing up. You don't have to draw like fast, you know. It's just how I work a lot of time because the style of how I use things. So you see how I just kind of leave the white area coming in because it's not always good to, well, it's good to give like little like high contrast onto the drawings. So I'll show you the little bit warm color. So warm shadow is really good for you know, like in the daytime or whatsoever. And then I'll do the cool shadow for the Joker. So start pushing it a little bit more. Use the, so you see how I choose the YR? YR are yellow and red. They're in the warm color, red, yellow. Those are like fire color, you know. Like, but you can use also the W2 to tone it down. So, like I said, you have practice a lot of use of different colors. So you can, like these grays are really cool that you can actually layer on top of it, give you a little bit more depth to them. I only color this is considered slow, but I usually just color this way when there are a higher, like clients want a little bit more sharp details and stuff like that. Warm it out. If you think it's a little too dark, I mean too white, then you just add a little bit like of E. I really beat them up. This is horrible. But if you do a lot of shows like I do, you won't have time to change markers all the time. Now I'll be working on the cool side. I'll use the cool grays to Jokers a little bit. So you get like that little like cooler grays on top. And it's the same thing. You block the skin tones. You block the anatomy out first. Leave some points. And you know, Jokers are blue eyes. Jokers. So I use you know how it's chiseled, and based on how fuzzy the chisel tips are, I use it as a stroke. You give a little like nice texture to it. So it's a good thing to have a beat up lens. And I use yeah, and then I also use BVs, blue, violet. So it's just a really good, cool gray, cool shadow to use on them. So they're pretty light. So like I said, anatomy helps in terms of building the structure of the faces. So do not be afraid to use a different color shadow. Because when I taught at the Academy of Art, shadow are made from black. There's no black color in shadows, even though I put it here. It's just a toner, like a darker version of this white, whatever, too, right? So shadow are not built from black. So at the Academy of Art, they always ask us to use a darker blue or darker purple, something for shadow on the floor. Almost put red on his hair. That's why I don't really put them in the boxes, because it's like right here, so I can just see it. Experience your tools. Get to know them. Talk to them. No, don't talk to them. But before I use these, markers, a lot of times I do color charts. I know it's a pain to do color charts, but it's very important. Or else you don't know your colors. You have to know your color. Like now I can just look at the tips. I kind of tell like what's the color I'm going to be able to create, but I'll show you guys how to make what's it called. A little bit. Like I usually do the sliding techniques. So that's why a lot of people. You know how this technique came around? It was during like a really busy show, and I was like going like this, like on the floor, and then I flicked the paper, boom, and it shoot up. Oh my God, that was so cool! And we keep doing it. But you notice I fold the paper a lot, at least 1 or 2 times, just because you need to create like that extra thickness to it than a thin one like that. It's too flimsy, so you want to like fold enough that it's more stable.
Jackson Pollock started as an accident too, I think.
It was like a lot of times like accidents. Oh my God, making their tables. And so, red for blood. Just use it for like a lot of times. You guys probably like seen me do this all the time. But like I said, all the drawings come with different kind of feel to it. Put light force to it. You can use these ones to test it out too. This one's it's like guns. So you do create like a pretty, and when you want to dry it out, just use air. Go on. To give it a pretty nice touch. Let's just do it. So, and then whiteout come in handy too. I watched Jim Lee does his whiteout, and there's a lot of way he can do the whiteout technique. Jim Lee usually he put on his credit card, whatever kind of card you use, you apply onto it and you flick it into a star. You can do that too, but usually I do it a different way. Hopefully this one. Oh, another tool from Copics is these opaque whites. You probably seen me use them for your commissions too. They come with really thin brushes. It's really fine brushes, and I'm running low on this too. I'm running low on here. But, get a good like slice to it.
It doesn't even look like 0.3 millimeters.
It's like really thin. Get my hand out. But you can use like scratch down and stuff like that. And the cool thing about these one, you can it's pretty like opaque, and it's like liquid a little bit. So usually I can use it to smear them like smoke. So you can do like a really nice smoke effects onto them if I have a little usually. Hopefully, help you guys a little bit understanding. If you want to use like pointers and so on. Oh, another one. I use R32 is a really good color. I use a lot of time for more, light color that reflected to the human body that's not just only white. So sometimes I'll apply these on this add into the scene. Give you that like lights coming into that. Let's see. So yeah, you guys have any questions, hopefully I can answer you regarding to like how I work or what kind of tools and so on, how to use these ones. So if I keep talking, just keep going. I know there's busy out there, so let me know. I'll be out there. Oh. Yeah. Any questions? No?
I guess I can ask an obvious one. So this 100 is a super dark black one that you almost never use. What's the circumstance you do use it?
They're not much different between 100 and 110. 110s are a really pitch black, but it doesn't really show it. It depend on what type of paper you use.
Oh.
So paper does affect like how you do certain things too. Let me go to paper really quick. Now, when you go to art store, there's watercolor paper, there's Bristol. Okay, the difference between those are the textures of it. Watercolor paper, when you microscopic to the paper itself, when you microscopic to the paper are just, you think it's just flat. Flat are like Bristol. Those are flat. Bristol paper are good with markers, anything that like less watery and stuff, because it doesn't absorb too much water. Now when you go to watercolor, why watercolor paper are different, if you microscopic into watercolor paper, it's like this. When you apply water onto watercolor paper, water flows and it starts paralleling with the surface. And that's why when you do watercolor, you want to push the waters out because the texture of the paper will absorb those water. That's why it's watercolor paper, because it absorbs more water. If you work on a flat surface, you apply water, the water just go like this until you push it off on the page. You know, so that's the difference between the two paper. Now, the paper get more expensive the more texture it is. It have more water flow out like all the directions. So this is microscopic way that you see like straight like this if you microscopic it out. So that's what comes out. So hopefully that helps you, you know, like in terms of paper. To use marker, usually for these one, I'll just go with the more flat. You know, so because you don't have to like slide the waters, you know, like watercolor. Canvas or oil or acrylic, they use more thicker canvas, right? Because they need to absorb oils and water from acrylic. That's why they use more thicker materials. So I talk like an educated man. I learned this from school. You know, so yeah, hopefully it's helped you when you go to art store and you know you can see the different price range. Brands, if you're asking about brands as well, let's make this question case. Brand doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. You know, you can go some cheap stuff when you first started, but brand does matter for colors and paint. It does not matter with paper too much. Paper are just paper. They just depend on the texture, how you feel, how you want to work. But brands are matter with colors and paint and supplies is more matter. Pencil, not so much. Paint, yeah. The reason why they're more costly than the other way is just how they are produced inside. You know, it's really, it looked like it's just a simple markers, but how they were built to be able to handle, to do certain things for, you know, certain effects is what goes through these little things, the tips. That's why they're really expensive. And pigments like oil and stuff, like why it's so expensive? Because to get certain colors are not easy. You know, to cobalt blue, oh my God, it's like so expensive for me in college. Because the way how they make that pigment to get that, the really, really rich, cobalt blue is like American flag, they use that for blue. It's very, very rich blue. There's so many types of blue. Yeah. But it will show the differences in your artwork too, if you get a really, really nice pigment. But digital wise, it's a matter. But digital, you just cannot feel what traditional you can do. You cannot do certain things in digital. Questions?
Why is Copic paper so thin and FMCH?
What, this paper?
Yeah.
These are not Copic paper.
Oh.
I use just regular paper, you know, because, you know, it get very, very expensive. Like if you, like I said, paper are just brand.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter what brand of paper you use. Paper are just paper. It just depends on how you like the feel to it and, you know, certain things. They have Copic paper,
yeah.
But basically they're just the flatter one, the more what's that word that you use?
Flat.
Yeah, Bristol. That's the word. Thank you. Yeah, they're just Bristol. You know, they're just flats. So it doesn't really matter. It's just a brand of it's Copic. It's no better than anything else. I mean, I'm sponsored by 3 companies, so you know I know all their paper, and that's how I got the job too, because I'm touching the paper in front of them. They're like, oh, you seem like you know something. Hey, you want to come over to our booth? Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Anything else, guys? Hopefully it helps, you know, make you understand a little bit. And you can always come by the booth and ask me more. Anything else?
This box you said December?
I tried to talk to you, but it's a really cool box. I mean, I travel everywhere with it, you know. I mean, it's all the slot filled up. I'm missing some slot because of the damage of the colors. But usually I have all my color like organized in numbers. Yeah, we run about like 150 to 200 for the case, but it's a really good case. I carry it on the plane all the time. It's like my baby. But when you go to TSA, people are like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
It's a bunch of slots. Is it gun? It's like bullets, you know? It's like, no, it isn't. That's not hurt me. They're like, and open it up. They're like, whoa. And I was like, yeah, I know, I get that all the time. Whoa, so you really draw? I was like, yeah, I draw for a living. He's like, really? It's like, yeah, there's a job out there.
I can color you.
Yeah, I can color. I should just send out my booth at TSA. Yeah, I mean, when you go to scan, all you see is just like slots, you know. They're like, what is that?
For blues.
Yeah. But they're just pens.
It does look scary to them if it was closed.
I know, because, you know, they have this new rule, you know, like, certain amount of liquid cannot go
Sure.
onto it, but they're like, okay, we let that go. There's not a lot of liquid inside anyway, so
Sure.
really, it's like small amount, like.
Yeah, but definitely you don't want to check the seal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I, you see this gray tape? Because I check it in like inside
Oh,
a suitcase, and then toss my suitcase everywhere,
Yeah, no,
you know? So by the time I got my case back, it's already cracked open, because inside is like wood, outside is a little metal, but when the wood like compressed so much, it cracked.
Yeah.
And you know,
And you're lucky they didn't lose it.
yeah, so John, he came by, I was like, Bordin, do you need a new case? I feel sorry for your case. I was like, it's okay, John, I'll just keep using it. It's all right. Yeah. You guys can tell. Yeah, so.
I have one question. I don't know if you mentioned it on your grayscales. Which markers do you typically use for
Like I said, grayscales are depend on, you know, like you say, it might look the same from your eye, but then when you use the, let's see, C3 and N3, let's say it's the same number, but the letter's different. It's cool and neutral. When you apply to it, you see the difference, you know. Sometimes you have to wait until it's dry too. See?
Oh, yeah, I see that.
See?
Yeah.
It's neutral
Yeah.
and cool. It's a big difference.
Yeah, it is. That's fine.
And you can mix them too. But like I said, I'll use the
Do you use a
cool one.
blender?
Not at shows.
So when you say you mix them, you just
I work
mix
really
them
fast.
right on top?
Yeah, I'll just apply on top like really fast. And, you know, it's more liquid because blender I only have like one pen and it's already working out. So.
Yeah.
But with my style, I usually don't use blender as much. So. Yeah.
You have a booth here today?
Yes, I have it in the front. You won't miss it. It's big.
Oh, okay.
It's a big. Yeah.
So you know what, you said that when you pull the tip out, you can't damage it.
Yeah.
But when you fill it up and you pull it out, is
Like
that okay?
the chisel is okay to pull it out.
Oh,
I
okay.
say
Okay.
don't pull this
Oh, just
one
that
out.
one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do not
gotcha.
pull this one out.
Okay,
You,
gotcha.
this one is all in one piece.
Okay,
You
cool.
know.
How
But
would you replace the fine tip, though?
like I said, they're these for sale. The nibs they're having
Yeah.
for sale at the arts supply store, and they come with
So
little
the
small
new one
packages.
comes, you know, you had that, where is that?
I don't have a tip with me.
No, you
But
drew
I
a
mean-
sketch of the.
Yeah, which, this one,
Is it this one? Oh, yeah.
or that one? So
Yeah,
it comes
the
only
shop would
this
sell
part.
this and this, like attached, not on it, but
So the
attached.
whole thing comes out when you get the new one, or just this?
It's just this whole thing, it's a whole piece.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
whole piece
Mhm.
together. But like I said, for me, I flicked so much that this top
Yeah,
tip
sure.
damage. It came
Yeah.
out, and when it
Yeah.
comes out, you
Yeah.
can't plug it back in.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
they're made of cottons,
Mhm.
really fine cottons.
Yeah.
So that's the material.
Okay, so the other side. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Those are refillable?
Yeah, these are refillable. That's why I have these. Some of the pen are 15 years old because I barely touched them. Oh
Yeah,
man,
it's fantastic.
oh look, this is a little cleaner than the other
Oh,
one.
yeah.
So I barely use this
You
one.
don't
This-
use it.
Yeah, this is like 4.0. You know, you can barely see it. Yeah.
Here's the ink you fill it in with.
I had no idea.
Was that good?
Very good.
Yeah. You're welcome.